It's the rematch on Family Day at BC Place Stadium. The Lions offense being introduced with siblings and children. There's Lamar Durant and quarterback Mike Riley. Introduced along with his daughters Cadence and Brooklyn. It's BC and Saskatchewan this afternoon from BC Place Stadium.
Well, when we cross the stripe, the Manny Show is back on the marquee here in Vancouver, but this time wearing the visitors white and green. Last week he came off the injured list. Tonight he is back in the Dome where he scored 35 touchdowns in 64 games as a BC Lion. His former teammate is the leading receiver for the Lions with good numbers, but they are stats that could be better if the Lions can keep Mike Riley upright. How the Lions protect their quarterback is question number one tonight.
Devon Claybrooks admits the Lions are into must-win territory to stay in touch with their divisional rivals, looking for BC's first home win of the year and their first victory against a Western opponent. Craig Dickinson's Riders prevailed 38-25 a week ago, and now they look for their first home-and-home sweep of the Lions since 1974. So we're underway. Ryan Langford with the return up to the 30-yard line, and Mike Riley, who passed for 346 yards last week, leads the Lions offense onto the field.
8-7 versus Saskatchewan Roughriders, 1-5 on the season, and it's been a long one already for Mike Riley. Sacked 21 times, and we're just starting game 7 for BC.
First 6 games last year, he was sacked 4 times. So they start at the 31, and Riley hit, and that one was almost intercepted as there was pressure off the edge from the safety, Mike Edom.
There's Brian Burnham, #1 receiver for Riley in the lineup, #2 in the Canadian Football League, and he missed a game. So Brian Burnham is doing his thing. Up front, they've juggled once more. Joel Figueroa is back at left tackle. He has to have a big game and try and control and slow down Charleston Hughes. 3 sacks, 10 tackles for 39 in game 1.
Showing pressure again, this time Cameron Judge and Solomon Alabamian. Welcome back to BC. Number 10 gets home, and it's the 22nd sack of the season, surrendered by BC.
We're number 10 for Saskatchewan, just left of the goalpost. Solomon Elamimian lines up to the field, but then he's going to go through the B gap all the way around to the backside. So with Joel Figueroa taking Charleston Hughes wide, that opened up the lane, and former BC Lion gets there. Sack 22.
Second sack of the year for Elamimian. Both have come against BC. Kyron Moore fields the punt and is across midfield, so Saskatchewan will start on the BC side of center. David Mackey with the special teams tackle, but Cody Fajardo leads the Roughriders offense onto the field. 278 passing yards last week, and he also ran for 53.
Well, one of the question marks last week for Cody Fajardo was, could he have the bounce back game after Calgary, where he threw for under 100 yards in that one in a loss to the Stampeders. He did have the bounce back, just shy of 300, a couple of touchdowns. There were 2 interceptions, but it was a bounce back game for Fajardo.
Really got it going late. Touchdown drives of 75, 74, and 56 yards in the second half. Shaq Evans was the player of the week, a catch here for short yardage in front of Gary Peters.
Saskatchewan, there's Manny Arsenault back in BC play. 64 games as a BC Lion. Game 1 coming off the injured list is the transition game. Game 2 is where you really settle in. We'll see what kind of show he can put on tonight. And Dan Clark, Saskatchewan native, Regina native, born and raised. Dan Clark is in game number 100. The Saskatchewan Roughriders tonight.
Yeah, congratulations. Great milestone. 2nd and 6. Aaron Grimes was blitzing with the ball out of the hands of Fajardo quickly, and it's Corey Watson with a catch and a first down for the Roughriders.
Well picked up there by William Powell. William Powell is going to step up and take the secondary blitz. You mentioned it from Aaron Grimes. You see number 29 steps across the face of Cody Fajardo. It's tough to see the blitz coming from the backside like that, but William Powell picked it up.
No first down line, 42-yard line, and the first carry of the game for William Powell. Not much there. Into the teeth of the Lions defense. Davon Coleman, the tackle.
I agree with the Lions. With the panel with regards to the Lions. One of their question marks has been getting pressure on their D-line, and Odell Willis has been looking for sack number 100 in his career for 4 weeks now. Jordan Herdman-Reed leads the team in defensive plays. He's got 39. You go back to that secondary and one change. Former Saskatchewan Roughrider Cresden Butler is going to play that wide side corner spot.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Lions have fewer sacks as a team than Charleston Hughes has so far this season. Flag comes down, and like they got that one off.
Yeah, the panel was obviously talking about protection issues for the Lions coming in, and that's a big question mark here tonight as well.
Saskatchewan, number 66. 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
Oh, it is a procedure call against Darius Bladdock back in.
But again, our producer John Hines thinks this is a very important stat, and I agree with him. He's talking about the sacks for and against. And if you're winning that trench battle, whether protecting your quarterback or getting after the opposition quarterback, you usually win the game. You win those two battles, and BC has lost both. They're not getting pressure on the opposing quarterbacks up front.
Bladdock for Philip Blake, a broken leg. He had been grading out as the top offensive lineman for Saskatchewan. Powell, the screen, cuts it back inside and back around the 40-yard line. So it'll be third down, and the kick team comes on. Gabe Ferraro did not attempt a field goal last week. It was touchdowns, not field goals, and that was the difference in the game at Mosaic.
But the score last week a little bit, it doesn't really tell the story. It was a little bit off when you consider that they were one possession going into the fourth quarter. And that's when Saskatchewan pulled away late now.
47-yard attempt. Up and good. Ferraro 2 for 3, replacing the injured Brent Lowther. So Saskatchewan cashes 3 on that good field position to start.
Sleeman, here's to craftier thinking.
The CFL on TSN is brought to you by the Nissan Titan, official vehicle of the Canadian Football League. And by the way, did we mention it's a spectacular day on the West Coast? So after the field goal by Ferraro, Lions will scrimmage, first down at their 35. And they'll hand it off to John White. Trying the left side, not much there. Elimimian in the middle of it once again.
Well, huge game last week for Charleston Hughes. I mentioned 10 defensive tackles, a couple forced fumbles, and 3 sacks. He leads the league with sacks with 8. Solomon Elimimian got one already in Series 1 for the BC Lions, a former Lion back in BC place. And a change in the secondary. Solomon Means is out. LJ McCray out of Georgetown, South Carolina, plays the wide side corner.
Former San Francisco 49ers showing blitz again this time. They jump offside the call. AC Leonard, the former Lion, across the line of scrimmage first, unless he was drawn.
So a couple of ways BC can...
Offside, Saskatchewan, number 99. 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
A couple of ways BC can try and give Mike Riley a little more time back there to throw the football. And one is to get John White involved. Get John White involved in, first of all, protection on blitz pickup, which every back does, but also chipping on Charleston Hughes, stepping up and just getting a shoulder into 39 as he goes off into his pass route. That can slow him down a little bit.
Cam Judge showing pressure again. They hand it off, and it's White. Elimimian there again, along with Derek Moncrief, who's had a terrific start to the season. Get the impression number 10's fired up to be back in BC place.
You think? Yeah, I think so. I mean, Solomon's flying around right now, and that's the second time he's been able to get up after a play, takes on the block, sheds it, and steps over to get in on the tackle. Now he's got a sack and assisted tackle there. Went right to the BC Lion bench and started talking.
So no first downs yet for the home side. Josh Bartell, the former Rider, finding it away. Marcus Thigpen, who had the TSN turning point play last week, back there on punt return, and he gets stuck. Good cover downfield by Herdman Reed. What a start for Elimimini. A couple of tackles and a sack. 2 series in, he's fired up.
$5.99. The Brick, saving you more.
Not many must-win games in July, but you got to think this is for the BC Lions. And here's the divisional record. They've already lost the season series against Edmonton. A loss here, and they fall further behind, and another season series against a Western rival would be gone as well.
Yeah, Lions got to build. They got to get this one here tonight. Desperation time for BC and Devon Claybrook's guys, but they have Saskatchewan, Edmonton, Calgary, their last 3 games of the season.
Here's Thigpen. Corey Tuber with speed tracks him down at defensive end, his first start of the season.
So I don't like to say must win unless it is the must win where if you lose, you're out and you're going home, packing your bags, garbage bag day. That's not this, but desperation time for sure for BC. Lose 2 season series against division opponents, and then those 3 games at the end of the season don't matter. Bad start for BC, but they've got time to regroup, get after it, and get back in the race.
2nd and 11, Fajardo from the pocket. Pass complete underneath, but not much there for Neiman Roosevelt, and the punt team will come on. Brandon Dozier moved up from his safety spot to contain Roosevelt.
So the Lions, even though they haven't generated a first down offensively, have started because of the play of their defense just to sort of shift field position. A couple of good kicks. Now can John Ryan, who can cut it loose. In game 1, he had 3 singles. He wanted to get it out of bounds and didn't, but he can cut it loose here and see how far he can kick it.
John Ryan averaged 58.6 yards a punt last week. 49-4 for the season. Langford back. And Langford's got a backtrack inside his 20, back at the 15. Trying to dance away. Purifoy will grab him and drag him down. So
Ryan just kicked him out of problems. Just changed field position. Big kick.
Big move by Ryan. We've talked about the protection issues, and we'll have more on how the Lions have to protect Mike Riley when we come back. While the prevailing story here in BC is Mike Riley being under siege. 12 sacks by the Edmonton Eskimos in 2 games. 21 coming into this, and already won by Saskatchewan. Tonight they have to protect their most valuable asset a little bit more.
Already been hit once by Mike Adam as he threw, and sacked once in this game by Solomon Elimimian. So a lot of the same so far.
62-yard punt by John Ryan backs BC up. Has a little time, now just dumps it off underneath, and it's an incomplete pass. Looks like it caught Rutley by surprise. It was so much pressure last week at the end of the game, everybody wondered why he wasn't coming out, but Mike Riley didn't believe he should be pulled from the game.
They expect Brian Burnham to come out. Were people mad that Burnham didn't come out? Are they mad that your starting right guard doesn't come out? Do they expect your D lineman to come out? Why are we any different? I mean, you expect your guys to fight till the end and never to take a play off no matter what the situation is in the game. And if I'm the leader of our team, how do I expect to go in and tell guys that give me everything you got for all 60 minutes regardless of the situation of the game, but they see me sitting on the sidelines for the last 2 minutes? What kind of message does that send?
Well, the message continues. They can't protect their most valuable asset, who I'd suggest is a little bit more important than the right guard.
Yeah, and you know, believe me, I'd love to be a teammate of Mike Riley's because of that attitude, because I totally respect his answer there and completely understand that he doesn't want to come out. He wants to battle with his guys, especially the big boys up front. But he is different. And Devon Claybrook's also admitted that in retrospect, he should have taken him out around the 3-minute mark when the game was out of hand and he was still getting pounded. So, you know, he is different. The quarterback position, sometimes you've got to protect the player from himself. I admire it. That's why he is such a great leader. He shouldn't change his mentality, but Devon Claybrooks, in some situations, got to protect him.
Got to live to fight another day, don't you?
Oh, for sure, for sure. And he is different. The quarterback position, very different. Your season hanging in a thread, and if you lose him for 6 to 8, you know.
Boy, it's back to the drawing board for Brian Chu and that offensive line. They've just loaded it up. Saskatchewan's just having a race to the quarterback on every play here in the opening 3 series.
Oh, Matt Dunnigan mentioned it just before we got started from the panel's position, saying that it's not just the O-line. It is for sure the O-line, but not just them. The receivers have to know when they're hot. Mike's got to get it out of his hands when he sees the blitz coming. And Jarius Jackson's got to start calling plays that give him that outlet. In other words, if they're sending their linebackers and lining them on the line of scrimmage like we've seen already tonight, Solomon Elimimian a couple times, then just run a receiver right in behind where the linebackers line up normally. I mean, that's simplifying it in a big, big way, but that's a way to just, Mike Riley gets the ball in his hands and he dumps it over the middle immediately. Got to see it.
3 possessions, minus 22 yards. They concede the safety and kick it off. And on the return, Purifoy breaks away. Lucas Purifoy, another former Lion, turns the corner. He'll go in, untouched, touchdown. Second consecutive week that the Roughriders get a kick return touchdown against the Lions.
It's amazing what a couple of wiggles can do from a returner before the cover team even gets there. Watch Purifoy just kind of fake like he's going to go to the short side of the field. A couple wiggles there before he even gets first contact. Then contain misses, and away he goes. It's a one-on-one race with Sergio Castillo, and guess who's going to win that one?
87 yards. Thick pen last week, Purifoy this week. And the 9th kick return touchdown of the season in the Canadian Football League.
Let's go, man. That's it, boy.
So Ferraro for the convert, 12-0. Lions have started well in most games, but in this crucial game, they're down by a dozen early.
Offside.
The new popcorn chicken for just $1.99, only at Burger King.
Greg Dickinson mentioned yesterday he found out that Purifoy was a heck of a return man when he kicked away from Deontay Spencer, and Purifoy, the other return man, scorched him twice, and this time he scorches the BC Lions.
I was talking to Ryan Phillips on the sideline about Purifoy, and he mentioned to Purifoy, you can't catch kick returns. You don't have good enough hands. And Purifoy looked at his former teammate and said, I'm All-State, baby.
And of course, last week, a momentum changer. Just before halftime. And a 100-yard kick return by the speedster Marcus Thigpen. His 7th career kick return touchdown. So deja vu all over again, and the Lions looking for a rewrite here. Langford can't get over the 20-yard line. Great downfield cover by Chevrier. Well, it's a return back home for Solomon Elimimian, a 9-year Lion, and the biggest tackle totals in Lion history. With more, here's Farhan.
And Solomon certainly appears motivated at the prospects of playing his former team, but it hasn't always been this comfortable for Solomon since he arrived in Saskatchewan. There are many close to him who believe that his involvement with the Collective Bargaining Association and those negotiations, it was a real difficult situation for him. It took a toll on him physically, it took a toll on him emotionally. He was so invested in those negotiations, and from a physical standpoint, all the travel really affected his ability to prepare for the season. So when he walked in on day one of camp, he suffered the calf injury. Now he's back and he looks pretty good. There have been times during that process that he's even suggested this might be his final season. As far as coming back here to BC, you know, he did not want to talk to us at TSN yesterday as part of the broadcast sit-downs. There's still some acrimony from when he left BC to come here, and certainly he wants to focus on business. Didn't want to talk to his former teammates as well, but he's looking good so far with a sack and a couple of tackles early. We'll see how the rest of the game plays out, but very clearly an emotional player coming back home.
Number 8 all-time in tackles, closing in on Greg Battle. There's Brian Burnham, a catch, and there's the initial first down of the game for the Lions. Ed Gainey, the tackle.
Yeah, with Solomon Elimimi, you're talking about arguably the best linebacker in BC Lion history. I mean, a guy who is outstanding rookie in 10, outstanding D in 14 and 16, outstanding player in 2014. That doesn't happen for defensive players very often, if at all.
71st straight game with a catch for Brian Burnham and a handoff to Brandon Rutley inside. Tackle made by Leonard.
What Farhan talked about, though, with Players Association and when you're a player rep, and it's a difficult balancing act because you have to deal with management at a different level in different offices, and has really little to do with actual production on the field.
That could be as rough as being in the trenches.
Yeah, no question. But they got it done.
2nd and 6.
Here it comes.
Pocket collapsing. Riley gets it away. Got a completion. And another first down for Brian Burnham up in midfield.
Delayed blitz from the guy we're talking about, Solomon Elimimi, right in the middle of your screen. He's going to go on a delayed blitz here. He's about 3 or 4 yards off the line of scrimmage, and he gets picked up by Brandon Rutley, cut blocked, allowing Mike Riley to get it out there.
Adam the tackle, Burnham just beyond midfield. And the Lions trying to respond after that kick return touchdown. And they get it into the hands of Cotoy, and another first down, so they start to drive. Cotoy with a touchdown catch last week, his first in the CFL.
Big guy that could play a little tight end too. I mean, he's almost in that tight end position right there. They put 4 into the boundary, so little chip as he gets out into that flat area on Cameron Judge.
So maybe a little rhythm for Mike Riley and a few quicker releases on this series. See if that backs Saskatchewan off a bit. Here's Rutley. Got some blocking left side and down to the 36-yard line.
Available intelligent around view monitor and standard rear cross traffic alert. Don't settle for less than the Nissan Rogue.
8 for Brandon Rutley, who did most of the work in the backfield last week with 13 carries for 73 yards. John White's been trying to come back from a slight ankle sprain, and although he was declared 100% going into this game, Rutley in there right now. Maybe a free play as the Riders jump. Micah Johnson shuts it down, but looks like Saskatchewan jumped the gun. And if they did, it's a first down BC.
Micah Johnson still looking for his first sack on the season. 14 sacks a year ago as a Calgary Stampeder. Talked many times about the big off-season signing. Big free agent.
Waiting for confirmation from the replay official.
Procedure, no end, BC. Offside, Saskatchewan, number 15. Those penalties offset. We'll redo second down.
So the play over, 2nd and 2.
Probably change that call and run away from number 2.
So 2nd and 2, back in the hands of Rutley. And he'll have the first down. We're told that John White has already left the Lions bench, so it looks like it's Rutley's game again after 87 yards from scrimmage last week on 15 touches. And that was the final play of the opening quarter. A big one for the visitors. A field goal, a safety, and a kick return touchdown from Luchez Purifoy. And it's a 12-0 Saskatchewan lead.
Now, Canada.
Last week, the Lions lost despite having more first downs, yards, and more time of possession. Same story in the first quarter, although there aren't many numbers at all, and they trail again.
Yeah, no, you take a look at these offensive numbers and you go, the panel is pulling their hair out, those who still have hair. And you know, honestly, I'm going to say that defenses are allowed to win too, and that was a good defensive half for both teams. But the big issue for the BC Lions, who really have to win this football game tonight, is they're still having protection issues. I mean, a couple of sacks on Mike Riley, again, a few hits. He's taken a pounding, and they haven't fixed it.
Special team issues as well, and no more hair jokes, please.
We're all just hanging on in that regard.
But despite what went wrong for BC in the first quarter, they start the second quarter, first down, Rough Rider territory. Cameron Judge has been blitzing, and Durant unable to run under that rainbow from a pressured Mike Riley.
So again, this is a situation now where Charleston Hughes will line up into the boundary. He has been in the 2 games and so far in that first quarter. So he's on the short side of the field. And what are they going to do with 39? Do they put Rutley over there or a tight end to try and help and double team him, widen that edge? Or are they just going to leave it up to Joel Figueroa to try and play him one-on-one? He's up here at the top of your screen, and that's goal number 1.
10th play of the drive, 2nd and 10. Underneath, the catch made, but well short of the first down for Jack Johnson.
So Figueroa keeps him wide on that play, but he was there enough that there's no way Mike Riley was going to wait for a deeper route at first down territory. He had to throw that outlet because another split second, and Charleston Hughes coming around the edge and getting to him.
So the field goal unit comes on. Castillo 16 of 17. His only miss actually was a game-winning rouge. Not though the way he drew that one up, but otherwise perfect.
And didn't deliberately miss that.
From 35 out. It's good. BC cuts the lead to 9. Well, there's another familiar face to BC Lion fans. Manny Arsenault back after 8 distinguished years of service with the BC Lions, and here's what he thought about his return.
But it'd be good to see some of the fans, you know, people that reached out on social media, some of them then text and email that I built relationships with here. So it'd be good to see their faces again, but it's just all about coming in and winning this game. So that's why after the first one, I was like, okay, but it's gonna mean something to come in and win this second one, and that's what I'm just banking on, getting this second victory.
William Powell inside, a good run across the 40. Manny Arsenault with over 8,000 receiving yards as a BC Lion.
64 games here in the Dome. 35 touchdowns. He'd love to play here, and take a look at the numbers compared to the best BC Lions. G. Simon in the building, part of the management group here in BC. Jim Young, dirty 30. One of my favorites growing up, sitting in the Nally chip seats at Empire Stadium. Still have Jim Young's chin strap.
That's pretty good.
There's Manny Arsenault.
Dirty 30, one of the great nicknames.
Good hair.
Oh,
there
here's
too.
a quarterback option. Fajardo to the first down stick at the 45-yard line. Mentioned that he ran 8 times last week, 53 yards. A lot of designed run plays for Fajardo against this BC defense.
A little zone read. He pulls the ball and gets outside. He's got Shaq Evans blocking down for him, and then just has to beat that one tackle to get to the first down marker.
Malik Harris wrestling him down. Lions defense had only surrendered 21 points in the first quarter. Here's Fajardo stepping up, and he's got a target. Neighbor Roosevelt is into BC territory and dropped at the Lion 51.
Cody Fajardo just continues to progress, slowly progress. There'll be series where it's 2-0. There'll be series where he's not seeing it. But watch him negotiate the pocket here. He's going to just slide his feet, find that little gap, eyes up, and finds Naaman Roosevelt over the middle. He could have run there if he wanted to, but he saw his receiver wide open in between the linebackers and gave it to him.
Fajardo 6 for 6 out of the gate, a 14-yard connection there. And now Powell inside, and can Powell navigate his way through a hole and has 8 to 9 on that carry.
You know, he proved in the first 2 games then he can play as the starter at this level. And then he had his first challenge. He plays against the Calgary Stampeders, 89 yards passing in that one, a game they lost, a game that they struggled. There's his yards per game, and you know, there's some young quarterbacks on that list, unfortunately due to some injuries, but these guys are getting a chance to show what they can do, and Nick Arbuckle's winning some games, and Cody Fajardo continues to progress.
Here's Powell again, runs for the first down. 4th in the league in rushing coming in. And the Roughriders are driving.
I think it starts with Fajardo's study habits, first of all. I mean, that's what you hear with all the quarterbacks that we see accomplish that starting spot and then grow with it are guys that are first in, last out. Stephen McAdoo is working with a very young quarterback and is play calling well to help him out.
Fajardo gets it out of his hand. Shaq Evans got the catch on the slant. Gary Peters drags him down, but Roughriders stacking first downs here. Roosevelt on the limp as he gets up slowly.
Showed you Stephen McAdoo, the play caller here in Saskatchewan. You see the Lions have lined the defenders up, the 6 defenders up on the line of scrimmage, but watch how quick the ball's out. 1-1000 turn, step, slant route. Almost impossible for a defender to get there, even if he's unblocked.
14 for Evans, another first down.
By the way, Shaq Evans may be the best receiver in the league running that quick slant.
There's a pump, wide open, Kyler Moore, touchdown! Cody Fajardo said he wanted to see his receivers dancing, and Kyron Moore does just that.
Works the slant. We've got the run game going, a little bit of William Powell there. He had to run for a first down in the drive. Great pocket negotiation throughout this drive as he's just finding his little hole, finding his throwing lane. And that time he saw Kyron Moore in behind TJ Lee.
So Fajardo 8 for 8 out of the gate and a touchdown pass here. The 7th touchdown pass of the season for the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Line on my shoulder makes shapes in the cloud. Straight to my head, never wanna come down. It's love your deed.
Barbecue and Bar.
Thursday Night Football presented by The Brick continues next week. doubleheader action. Blue Bombers and Argos featuring a live halftime performance by Classified. And then the Ticats will take on the Roughriders. And at halftime, a live performance from Chad Brownlee. Our coverage that night begins at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, all night long, only on TSN next Thursday.
Big fan of Chad Brownlee. Big fan.
Ryan Langford's not been able to find any crease in that kick return coverage so far tonight.
So young quarterback Cody Fajardo in the first quarter really not generating much offense at all. And then he settles in, looks at the iPad through the break, comes out with a real nice 7-play, 75-yard drive, took up 4 minutes and 12 seconds. Nice accurate throws and finishes it off to Kyran Moore in behind coverage.
7th touchdown pass of the year for number 7. Last year, Saskatchewan's 7th touchdown pass came on Labor Day. Oh, Mike Riley needs to respond. Hands it off here. Inside, not much there. Looked like John White back in after leaving the bench for a short time. Wonder if he needed some medical attention or maybe just needed to be re-taped up on that ankle. Short yardage and back into 2nd and long, something the Lions were trying to avoid here in the rematch. And they get to him again. Down goes Mike Riley once again. Zach Evans on the scene. And it will be his first sack of the season.
Won't take long for the frustrations to build for Mike Riley. Watch the spin move from Zach Evans. Up the field, spins just as he's making contact with Norman. And when he comes out and around the corner there, Riley's trying to step up, steps right into him.
Bartel just gets it away. Kyran Moore at the 48 to cross the center field stripe and into BC territory. Another sack for Zach, 24th of his career. The former Regina Thunder star bringing down Mike Riley again.
Download now. You are the hard-working, the hopeful, the dedicated, the defenders. This is where you belong. This is where we unite.
Green and white represented here at BC Place Stadium on Family Day. And their next home game, August the 1st, against the Ticats. Starting on the Lions side of half again, and William Powell powering his way down around the 45. Timbers start to get short. You get tired of playing the same team back to back?
Well, not if you've lost the first game. If you lost the first game, you can't wait to get back. It's a little more challenging when you won the first game. You have to try and make some changes, but not too many, because why fix it if it's not broken? I mean, you won the first time.
Greg Dickinson mentioned there was an advantage coming out of the break. They actually, during the break, they got 2 game plans ready for 2 games against BC.
It was good timing when you got a home and home, absolutely.
Powell inside, breaks a tackle, and he'll get to the 40, another first down. Did that ball pop loose? Lions think they might be on it. TJ Lee at the bottom of the pile, but no signal from the officials.
He's got it.
And now the officials are going to confirm. Was forward progress stopped? That might be the case. There's the ball getting ripped out, and
it's out before down by contact, but was the forward progress stopped? I didn't hear a whistle necessarily, but that doesn't mean it wasn't stopped.
Lee's got the football. And the Lions could use a break, but we've seen these often overturned because of forward progress stopped. Going to get a challenge from Devon Claybrooks. But if they tell him that they're ruling forward progress is stopped, they'll probably let him pick the flag up.
Well, and because that they've already reviewed it, potential turnover, they were reviewing it already. So that's what they're explaining to Devon Claybrooks right now, that you're not going to get a different outcome by challenging. We just reviewed it.
Now he can still challenge here.
Yeah, sure he can. But what they're telling him is that you shouldn't, because our command setter's already looked at it.
I guess the frustration for a coach is sometimes you see those plays stacked up, and then the pile gets moved another 5 yards, and there wasn't a whistle, but that rule is to help protect players. And now Devon's thinking about whether he should pick it up, and he probably should just save it.
Yeah, he said forget it. And just because
BC was wanting to challenge the previous play for a fumble, but the forward progress was stopped, and he was unaware of that information. He will retain his challenge. First down, Saskatchewan.
Again, he could have challenged, but the odds of him winning it were remote.
Absolutely. He was able to challenge, but needed that extra information because there was no whistle, but forward progress can be stopped without a whistle. And that's the officials will just determine that on their own, and then that's what they ruled. So they let him know that, and he can pick up his flag.
One area where Devon Claybrooks has been good. He's 7 for 7 in the challenge category. There's a fake, going to take a shot. One Shaq Evans against Gary Peters. Incomplete. Peters with the best shot at the ball against Shaq Evans, who last week had 5 for 158. And Thaddeus Coleman, the right tackle, shaken up. That's the first incompletion of the afternoon for Cody Fajardo.
I think Coleman stepped on his teammate, stepped on the foot or ankle of his teammate. Nice jump ball by Gary Peters at the top end of the route here, but back in the trenches, looked like Coleman stepped on his teammate and went down immediately.
During the week, Evans was talking about the fact that this team is taking more shots this year downfield, and his quarterback has the best completion percentage of passes over 20 yards of any quarterback in the league at 61.9%. So Thaddeus Coleman getting attention, and we will step aside with just under 6 minutes left here in the first half.
Today.
The 2019 MLS All-Star Game comes your way Wednesday. Best of MLS face off against Atletico Madrid. Catch the action at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific, only on TSN. Coleman testing the ankle. Looks like he may be only out for 3 plays.
He's all good.
Brayden Schramm has checked in on that offensive line. Quarterback draw. And it's Cody Fajardo. Oh, we hit a wall there at the 30, and the ball came loose, and Fajardo's in some difficulty. But able to pop up. It looked like might be out, but now is there a turnover or not? Officials are discussing it. Lions think they've got a fumble recovery for the second time on this series. And Manny Arsenault gesturing to the Lion bench to hold on.
It came from Chris Edwards. Watch to the left of your screen.
Well, that ball's out, isn't it? And you could see the grimace of pain. But no fumble rule, no challenge. Now there is a challenge.
Yeah.
And I was surprised if there wasn't. And Chris Edwards fired up because he thought it was a fumble all along.
BC is challenging the previous play that there's a fumble. We'll review the play.
because Cody Fajardo is a runner, basically another back in the open field, he doesn't get the same protection rules that he would from the pocket. But it looked like that ball did come out of there.
And it's hard to see when the ball's dislodged in the knee. It's out there in the knee. But you could see the look of discomfort on Fajardo's face as he was hit before the knee went down.
Well, and right now they are, you got to believe that the ball's out now, and no.
When the horizon retreats into the distance.
Field is overturned. We have a fumble and recovery immediate by BC. We also, at the end of the play, have objectionable conduct. BC will apply 10 yards to be first down, BC.
Devon Claybrooks still perfect on challenges. He wished the win-loss record was like that. But a turnover here, and the Lions needed that. BC 8th in takeaways. Penalty marches it back to the 20-yard line. And that's where BC will put the ball in play. Objectionable conduct against the BC bench, so the Lions too much to say, probably because they had to use a challenge to get that turnover.
Well, and I'll just say this, teams with losing records get that penalty.
So Mike Riley has just under 4.5 minutes to go, trying to cut into this Roughriders 16-point lead. 33 yards of offense so far for BC. Pressure from Judge. Another incompletion. Cameron Judge has just been sprinting to the quarterback all afternoon long.
Mike Riley's, that's his 19th play. They've run 6 running plays. He has been hit 5 times, sacked 3 times, hurried twice. That math doesn't work out well for BC.
Nope. 2nd and 10. Moncrief playing center field. And they'll take a shot down that far sideline, and a flag down. Marshall and Carter step for step.
I'm not sure this isn't against Deron Carter.
Yeah, I wondered about that. Devon Claybrooks, I think, thinks it's going the other way.
I think Marshall was in outstanding position, and Carter grabs him, tries to throw him behind so he can get and move out. Nick Marshall, they got into it.
Did they ever?
In game 1.
And that is the call. It's going to go against Deron Carter.
No doubt from Nick
Pass
Marshall.
Interference on the offense. BC, number 89. That penalty is declined. Be 3rd down.
Excellent position. Basically running the route. Carter's grabbing, pulling in desperation to try and get to the football, and that's offensive PI.
Quick 2 and out, 5th of the game for BC. Martell's wobbly punt fielded at the 50. They fake the reverse, and the speedster, Kyron Moore, swerved back into BC territory at the Lion 41. The field position, the field tilted in this first half in favor of the green and white.
I watched Fajardo while Mike Riley was out there getting hit again, and 2-3 plays, he didn't show any sign that hit where he fumbled the ball in the last series is affecting him. He's right back in there calling the plays. He looks sharp, so good news for Riders and the Rider fans that their quarterback's okay. And he's getting his O-line lined up right, so that's a good sign.
Does seem to be some confusion as Coleman not back in yet. Final play before the warning. Fajardo pumps, throws, and short hops it. Intended for Arsenault, well covered by Aaron Grimes. This time the Lions heat creates an incompletion. We hit the 3-minute warning here, first half at BC Place.
Is our vehicles.
Rod, the boys back in the studio getting set for halftime. We'll talk about the ongoing pressure in Mike Riley and what the Lions can do about it. Also, the terrible news out of Hamilton with Jeremiah Masoli out for the season. Also, the 7-11 player rankings on the top defensive performances of the week. Back to Chris and Glenn.
That was bad news in Hamilton. We'll talk more about Jeremiah Masoli as this day wears on. You see Thaddeus Coleman back in at right tackle after limping off earlier. 2nd and 10 here. And they call the draw to Powell. William Powell. And he finds a crease. Nobody's going to catch. William Powell, touchdown. A 42-yard scamper, his longest run of the year.
At the point of attack, it looked like Herdman Reed was where he was supposed to be, the middle linebacker. My question is on the backside hustle from the rest of the Lion defenders. For a running back to be able to stop like that 2 or 3 yards past the line of scrimmage, regroup, bounce outside, and then be untouched to the end zone. Someone must have been loafing.
Convert's good. 26-3. The Riders open it up here in the late stages of the first half.
Wondering when William Powell, though, he's had a couple of good games, but I was wondering when he's going to have that big breakout game. Maybe this will be it as this game goes on with the Riders with the lead. Well, you have to just, all 12 have to be hustling to the ball like their life depends on it on defense. And let's take a look at the all 24 look and look at the orange jersey. So go ahead and run it. See William Powell hit the line. Nice draw. Herdman Reed steps up where he's supposed to be in the hole. Now, is everybody running? Is everybody hustling on the backside to make sure they get that angle that if he does break out of there, that he can be caught? That's what the coaches will be looking at when this game is over.
Looks like Aaron Grimes got caught inside one of the defenders.
Now Shaq Evans is saying, come on, I'll lead the way, and I don't have anybody to block, so.
Too easy. 2 plays, 42 yards. The one run by Powell to hit Pete Dirt again in 50 seconds. Flag comes down to the return. Let's go to the sidelines. Here's Farhan.
Guys, plenty of problems, as you've mentioned, with the Lions' offensive line, not the least of which is continuity. Only twice this season have they started the same 5 in all the same spots, and generally the trend has been whenever they bring in one newcomer, it affects 2 to 3 other positions to accommodate the change. Ed Hervey addressed a number of different position groups this week. One of them was the offensive line, and he said to the coaches, find out where these guys are comfortable and quit moving them around. That's why Brett Boyko moved from the left side, or from the right side to the left side. He is backing up this week, and there's a narrative out there that the Lions have spent so much on Mike Riley that they haven't been able to spend enough to protect him, and that hasn't been the case. They have invested in these players. Potentially they've miscalculated on their ability or what they're being taught or how they're handling it. It hasn't gone well, and Hervey's already brought in one offensive lineman, Avery Jordan, last week to try to shore up the right tackle spot. He came in too late. Another import has been added this week, so he's certainly going to try to tinker with things through the bye week to try to get this figured out, but a lot not going well. Part of it is just get them comfortable.
You're right, it's not a must-win, but it's getting late early for the BC Lions.
Well, they'll lose another season series, and part of the responsibility falls on his shoulders. Darius Jackson, the offensive coordinator, he knows it. I saw good game plans against Calgary where they had a 10-point lead going in there late. They lost that game, but were right in it. It was a pretty good game plan against Toronto. But there are times when good play calling can help an inexperienced or struggling offensive line.
Like they're ruling a catch, which would be
The
a first
ruling on
down.
the field is an incomplete pass.
Now they're going to say incomplete, which is what it looked like.
But that's one thing. I mean, if the coaching staff is just flipping positions for the O-lineman, and going from playing left tackle, for instance, to right tackle is kind of like going from being right-handed to left-handed. You try and do that and live for a day with the opposite hand. It's completely different footwork. So if the juggling has been going on all season, as Farhan mentions, then that's a real issue. Just get them in a position, take some lumps early, which they have big time, and let them settle in. But play calling can help.
I can hear Saskatchewan fans saying, though, wait a minute, we've got 3 starters that are injured on our offensive line.
Well, exactly. But starters that have been replaced by guys that are playing in their comfortable position.
11 different changes from week to week on that BC offensive unit. And another start on the Lions side of half. Prior to the last exchange, the Roughriders' average field position start was the Saskatchewan 49. That will be improved even more.
Yeah, they need a defensive play to try and switch that field position. John Ryan, by the way, started it all with that big 60-plus yard punt. The Lions had got a little bit of an edge early in the first quarter in field position, even though both offenses were struggling. But then Ryan kicked him out of trouble, got the field position back, and Cody Fajardo went to work.
And kicked the Lions into trouble. Man, the defense backed them up. Fajardo, there was a duck and chuck, and the pass knocked down, incomplete.
Saskatchewan has started on average a 51-yard line.
Now the 51 after the last return by Kyron Moore. 2nd and 10 here.
It's all about real estate. Real estate turns into that right there.
And as you know, it's hard to acquire here on the West Coast.
Yeah, it is it ever.
Second and 10 here, under 2 minutes left, first half. Here comes pressure on Fajardo again. He gets away, and he's going to run for the first down and get down just in time in front of Gary Peters.
This is the other element that's been real impressive with Cody Fajardo. First of all, I like when he's been managing the pocket tonight. He's had his eyes up. He does it again here, but he pops out and he says, you know what, I'm going to just take off, and he's got the athletic ability to do that. Good decision to hook slide right in front of Gary Peters.
3 straight drives starting in BC territory, and a first down run by Fajardo. Now hands it off to Powell. Will slip on that jump cut and contained at the 41, so just a couple. 2nd and long.
After the tackle, 2nd and 7.
It's going to be a comfortable lead at the half any way they slice it, but the Lions need to make sure it's 3, not 7. At worst. 2nd and 8. Powell again. Right side, William Powell, and driven back at the 30 when it looked like he might have another first down.
It's going to be interesting here for Craig Dickinson. I think where are they? They're about a yard away.
It's like well, he got a good spot too, so it might be less than a yard. Under a yard,
yeah,
so
go ahead and get it. Run one more play, maybe take a shot. Even an intermediate throw can turn into another 7, and then you really put the pedal to the metal here. I like the choice.
4 for 5, short yardage. Flag came down.
Usually offside defense, but will this one be early movement?
Fajardo got it with lots to spare, but this one might be going against Saskatchewan. And if it is,
and it changes.
Field goal unit will come on.
Yep.
Procedure. Saskatchewan, number 68, 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
So Coleman ahead of the snap moved in. They will have to settle for 3. And first half where Greg Dickinson's had very little to nitpick about.
A couple guys on the field goal team. Charleston Hughes, sorry about that. Charleston Hughes and Micah Johnson, both on the field goal team.
That's providing some protection. Now, if Ferraro misses, it might provide an opportunity for BC.
Well, they have to cover.
And up, and he's missed, so we will get a return here from Ryan Langford. Look out! Look out! Ferraro's trying to slow him up. Langford tightens it, and he's gone. Ryan Langford, another return touchdown, and BC does have some life.
Sometimes it can be just one play that can turn the corner for a football team. Let's see for the BC Lions if this is the one. Because that BC Lion bench was absolutely asleep until this. And they erupted, and I think the bench ran the final 30 yards with Langford as he got to the end zone. Gets outside right down the sideline, does not step out of bounds. No flags, goodbye, 17's gone.
Hadn't had much going on return so far tonight, but it all changes with a 118-yard missed field goal return for a touchdown. And he hit the tape. Well, it's a 16-point lead now for the Roughriders, but see if that has the same impact as last week. In the late stages of the first half, it was Thigpen for Saskatchewan who got his team kick-started. Can this be enough to get BC back in it?
You know, Ryan Langford's been on the roster now for a couple of weeks. He's been in the return game, and I know Lions fans watching this return are going to say it's time to put 17 on the offense and see if he can help Mike Riley out, because he shows some great speed on this return, and let's see if the special teams can ignite BC Lions.
Gotta do it, gotta do it, gotta do it, gotta do it.
Got CFL experience, has been around and in the playbook here in BC for a few weeks now.
Well, that just provided a bit of adrenaline for the home side at BC Place Stadium.
Now Purefoy and Thigpen are no joke either.
Decent return, even 3 points back the other way might help put out the fire here. As far as the Roughriders are concerned, let's see what Purefoy's got here. And he is stopped short of the 35. Fired up, Herdman Reed. They'll job it. 24 seconds remaining here in the opening half.
Saskatchewan takes over just across their own 30. First and 10.
Simon Fraser guy pumped up.
Absolutely. That's what that special teams play did. See if the compete level for BC goes up a notch. Likely not in this half, but boy, that's big in the going in at halftime to have that play for the BC Lions.
And off to Thigpen. Not much there.
The ball carrier is Thigpen.
You're Saskatchewan, you're on the road. You just let that one, get rid of that one. Go make the adjustments on your special teams. You say we got a 16-point lead. Protect the lead on the road. Going at halftime. And
Lions with only 2 big returns all year on kickoffs, punts, and missed field goals, but both have gone for touchdowns.
Protect the lead here and take a knee and go in at halftime.
Now, despite that final minute, good first half for the visitors. And it will be 26-10 at halftime for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Let's head to the panel and get their take. Here's Rod Smith.
Thank you, CC, along with Henry and Maddie and Milt. And we talked about it before the game. Will BC be any better protecting Mike Riley? We got our answer in like the first 2 plays from scrimmage by the Lions, Milt.
It's week 7, and we're still talking about these BC Lions protecting Mike Riley. And they're still not getting it done. You know, when are they going to come to a place where they say, okay, we're finally protecting our quarterback? And we can't keep talking about this.
But we will.
This can't keep going on, can it? But it continues on. And it started early. You would think they would come out and do some max protection to give him some time to throw the ball. But on the first 2 plays, he gets hit. Then the next play, he gets sacked. That's unbelievable that these Lions allow that to happen. You'd think they would have some pride and say, we're not going to let our quarterback get hit. Yeah. If I have to hold someone as offensive lineman, I am not allowing my quarterback to get hit. But once again, it continues to happen.
That's right,
week
Milt.
7.
And it happened early, like you said, and we're going to take a look at it because, and it's not always on the offensive line. Sometimes Mike Riley's got to accept responsibility, and we're going to see it right here. Now, this is going to free release the back, so only got 5 protect, right? So Mike Riley's got to know that. Backs out. So here comes Solly unscathed, and they actually are going to be dead free to the quarterback here, and they had plenty of numbers, but on the right side they messed up the blocking. Here you got 3-on-3 to the right-hand side. Back is supposed to take inside out, and watch Figueroa, your left tackle. He's laid off the football. Back's got to take Charleston, and now you've got a jailbreak to the quarterback once again. And then here, this is just a nice stunt, and this is actually picks up really well because when the left tackle does his job, Rutley's able to block the man inside out, and he picks up Elimimian, and Mike's got an opportunity to throw the football down the field. So it's not always on the offensive lineman. Mike's got to read that hot when a back's free released, and they got to better communicate up front. And Figueroa's he's got to be on the snap count. So a lot of things going wrong with the big boys up front to make this what it is, and it is a mess after week 7, like you said, Milt.
I think the place you saw them have their most success was running the football, running quick games, quick screens, getting the ball to Mike Riley's hand just to offset that pass rush, because we all know that that front from Saskatchewan, they're pinning their ears back. They're bringing the heat. They got a substantial lead right now. So what else do they want to do? It's stats time. But if you want to continue to help keep your quarterback healthy, get this team in a rhythm, get Rutley going, get their running game going, and get the ball out quick, because they got guys like Burnham, Shaq Johnson, Deron Carter. We've been talking about these guys. They need to put together a drive. They got too much talent to be wasting, because, guys, I got a warning for you. The guys up front, that's not going to change, because if they were going to change it, they would have done something by now, and it hasn't happened yet.
Good news, though. We haven't heard Charleston Hughes' name being said.
That is true. That is true. That is true.
That's good news for him so far.
Exactly. There you go. Any type of momentum on the quick game, Hank, is when Mike Riley went down there and led his team to a field goal. And what did Fajardo do? Led his team to a scoring drive and answered right back.
Yeah, stop the one problem with Charleston, but the problems do continue in other ways. Only 40 net yards for the BC Lions. Back to talk about the awful loss for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. They won the game, but they lost their starting quarterback, Jeremiah Masoli.
It's BC and Saskatchewan. Solomon Elimimian. Welcome back to BC. On the return, Purifoy breaks away. Turns the corner. He'll go in. Untouched. Touchdown. Wide open. Kyron Moore. Touchdown. Cody Fajardo said he wanted to see his receivers dancing, and Kyron Moore does just that. He finds a crease. Nobody's going to catch. William Powell. Touchdown.
I was born and I was raised.
Coverage of the 4th and final World Golf Championship comes to an end tomorrow as the world's top golfers compete in the final round of the FedEx St. Jude Invitational. You can catch the action beginning at 2 Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on TSN and CTV2. Well, Slurpee Boy's at it again. He wants to rank the top defensive performances from the week, which does continue, by the way, with Sask and BC. Robertson Daniel. We'll call him the Joker now for his face paint. There without the face paint. Josh Johnson of the Eskimos. Good one against the Argos. Chris Kasher. Stan Peters did have good defensive performances. Corey Greenwood had 9 tackles in that victory over Ottawa. Jamal Roll of the Ticats. Big pick. A couple of them, and Jagarrett Davis and Winston Rose of the Bombers to round it out. But more on that Ticat Bomber game. The big story, of course, was the injury to Jeremiah Masoli. He's out for the season with an ACL injury. They're 5-1, but where do the Ticats go from here? Can they still be certainly the best team in the East without their star quarterback?
I think they can. I actually believe in Dane Evans. Just listening to the kid last night in one of our mic'd up games, and I love the fact that we get to hear what goes on in between each play, the communication that happens. And normally when you bring a backup on, they're usually struggling out there. They keep things pretty basic, not too much verbiage. But to hear Dane Evans taking over like a true veteran, a guy who's been in this system for a bit of time, making sure guys were in their right place, that showed me this kid is definitely on the ball because he's got the mental capacity, and physically he's definitely gifted.
Hey, Hank, you and I were talking about it, listening to the live mic yesterday, and how impressive Dane Evans was in communication. He was like a coach on the football field. That's impressive moving forward for the Hamilton Tiger-Cats. I think they'll pick up the slack. But, Milt, I really believe that Montreal's ahead of them right now with Vernon Adams, because they're basically 5 weeks ahead of him, right? Because Vernon Adams has taken over week 1. He almost won that game at Edmonton, and they're on a roll there. So I think Hamilton's playing a little catch-up with Montreal right now.
The best thing that ever happened to Dane Evans is that the fact that he has a great head coach in Orlando Steinhauer and offensive coordinator Tommy Condell. Both of those players, both of those coaches will keep him calm. Will he be able to go out there and produce? That's another question, but he got two great coaches helping him out.
And Thursday night, taking on the Riders back in Regina. And right now, they're leading the way over the BC Lions, who might be in the market for another receiver. This guy's pretty good.
Hey. I want someone with
Look from in the second half, down by 16 points.
Country Now, Canada.
Got 7 good reasons I should give her a call. It all worked out when you walked out, girl, I'll tell you the truth.
Count the Ways, the new single from Jade Eagleson. Listen on Apple Music.
Let us count the ways the Riders lead this game, Matty.
Yeah, Rod, real simple. Mike Riley, not like numbers right here. Just not finding the rhythm or time to throw the football down the field. 2 things you don't see on that board is Lucius Purifoy kickoff return after they concede a safety, and he takes it to distance, and then Ryan Langford taking one to the house, putting BC back in it.
Here's Riders quarterback Cody Fajardo with Farhan Lalji.
Cody, 8 for 8 to start this one, and you jump out to a big lead. Could you have imagined a better start?
It's a great start for us offensively and defensively, giving us the ball. Special teams came up with a huge touchdown for us. Wish we would have finished it a little bit stronger there in the second half, but now we got to come out. We know this Lions team has a lot of fight in them, so we know they're not going to go down without swinging.
You've been using your legs well again in this game. Took the big hit, though, there on the fumble. Just tell me about that.
I got to be a lot smarter. That's a selfish play by me. I got to get down and keep myself protected. It's a long season, and I feel like I got to play. So for me, I just got to get down and be smarter.
Thanks for this.
Yeah, thank you.
Who's that? And yes, that return by Purifoy really opening up this game in at 11-0. It's 26-10 now with the second half still to come. Riders lead it, the CFL on TSN.
If you live on the West Coast, the scenery looks a lot better than the scoreboard. 26-10. Saskatchewan headed to the second half, but here's Farhan Lalji and Devon Claybrooks.
Let's start with the kick return. After a first half that saw so many things go wrong, can that give you life?
Yeah, I mean, we got some momentum coming in. We got to come out and get some stops here, and then we can get back in the game.
What's the bigger concern for you right now, the inability to protect Mike or defensively the continued missed tackles?
Well, I mean, we're in positions, and the guys are playing hard. We just got to play hard under controlled chaos. And we got to understand that they're stinging us. They're sending one more on a delayed blitz there. So we got to start. We got to throw some hots, and we got to adjust that way. And then hopefully get the ball out of Mike's hand quick and get us in second and short, and then we can do some things.
Emotionally, what was the message at halftime?
just stay together, one play at a time. Don't try to do too much, because when you get in trouble is when you try to compensate or try to do too much. Just make average plays. That's all we got to do. Average plays to get us back in this game.
Thanks for this.
Thank you.
So here we go, second half. Back-to-back games with a kick return touchdown for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Only the second team in history to do that. Winnipeg did it back in 1994. Here comes Cody Fajardo, 8 for 11, 72 yards and a touchdown in that opening half.
Yeah, it's a big drive for Cody Fajardo after the momentum swing with the Langford touchdown to end the half for BC, get them back in this game to 2 possessions. Big drive here, go a long way to taking that momentum back.
And only the second, or the last time Saskatchewan had 2 kickoff returns for touchdowns in a year, 2000. Here's Fajardo taking off, and the deep slide up at the 42-yard line.
That was Demetrius Bendros. Remember Demetrius Bendros?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, had both of them back in 2000. You heard Cody Fajardo talk to Farhan before, at the break, before halftime started, talking about being smarter about hook slide. Executes it right there.
Well, they mark it back at the 40. So a little longer than we first thought. 2nd and 6, and Powell crashes up around the 46, and he should have it.
It's an important second down run there, and just patience from William Powell. Patience allowed him to just find a block, and he only needed one, just because the Lions had loaded the line of scrimmage. They were run blitzing to try and fill every gap, and a bit of patience from William Powell, and you get it right up there to that marker.
Yardsticks come out for a measurement. Fajardo will stay out regardless. And it looks like
short.
What, about 3 or 4 chain lengths short? And William Powell now at 94 yards in the game on the ground, on the strength of that 42-yard touchdown run. Had a 100-yard game in week 1 for the Roughriders against the Ticats in Hamilton, their next opponents on August 1st. And there's a sneak with some authority. Looked like Junior Luke was ahead of the snap, but it didn't matter for Cody Fajardo. What a surge.
Right behind Dan Clark. Game 100. And that's a fun play for the guys up front. They just get to drive off, stay low, and just push.
Mention their next game August 1st. This is the final game of July.
A guy who started the season coming out of a serious car accident.
Low throw, grabbed by Powell, but contained at the line of scrimmage. Gary Peters moves up to make that tackle, but that's a great milestone for any Canadian Football League player, particularly one of the Buffet boys in the trenches.
Oh, yeah.
We salute Dan Clark for 8 years of work.
Bounced back from that car accident where he was actually thrown from the vehicle. A couple of weeks he was back in the lineup, and now 60 plays on average for your offense. Now he's in 60 minor car collisions.
3-man rush, 2nd and 10. Fajardo sprints out of the pocket, and he'll take off, but gets bumped out short of the first down. So the kick team will have to come on.
Well, Devon Claybrooks told Farhan at halftime, we need a stop. We need a stop out of the gate to build on the momentum from Ryan Langford on the kick return. Make those common plays, those average plays. Everyone makes an average play. It's a big play collectively, and you get the ball back.
So the punt team on for just the 2nd time in the game. And that first punt by John Ryan, as you noted, was a 62-yarder that flipped the field in a hurry for Saskatchewan. This time, not looking for distance, looking to hit the corner inside the 10, something he's done 4 times this year. But he sails that one deep, and that one going to bounce right through for a single point. So not what he was looking for. It's a 17-point lead for Saskatchewan here after the opening series, third quarter.
Well, it's now 24 and counting sacks on Mike Riley on the season. This is just 6.5 games in. It's the delayed blitz. Devon Claybrooks at halftime called it sting. And he said that the way that Riley can try and help himself here a little bit is to pick up the sting blitz on the delay and get the ball out of his hands quickly on the hot route.
Start at the 35 to get out of his hands quickly. Ball was tipped. Johnson can't hold on to it. And Moncrief in the neighborhood almost had an interception.
Well, that's the exact solution. So here it is. Here's a great example. Delayed blitz from Solomon Elimimian. That means hot route is right here. It happens to be Shaq Johnson here. So delayed blitz from Elimimian, hot route. Get it out of there now. Tipped at the line, and Johnson loses the handle, almost intercepted. Make that catch.
Mike Riley, 2 of his last 7. 2nd and 10.
Late blitz.
Big the hitch, throws the slant. It's incomplete. Burnham can't hang on. There is a flag in the Lions' backfield. That's a holding call against BC.
Look at holding. BC number 54. Penalties declined. 3rd down.
Andrew Pearson, the center.
Andrew Pearson's trying to handle Micah Johnson. Micah Johnson is right here. Pearson the center, and you'll see why he gets the holding call. Kind of wrestled down a steer there. Almost looked like Andrew Pearson was looking at that iPad saying, I know, but it's Micah Johnson.
7th to and out on 8 possessions for BC. Bartell's punt. Kyron Moore, the return, nearly lost the handle, but reels it back in. Discovery's iconic summer event is back, bite after bite. It's a jaw-inspiring lineup of all things shark.
Oh, yeah.
Shark Week, it all starts Sunday, 8 Eastern, only on Discovery.
Yeah, this is the week where I find myself in the football bunker doing some notes and turning into shark vision the whole night. Just 4 in the morning, I'm watching shark documentaries.
First down, Powell, and time he's collared there. Junior Luke on the scene. Also in on the tackle, Charles Wright, the newcomer of that Lion defense. As Powell closes in on a 100-yard gain, looks like he'll be 5 yards short of that as they give him 1.
One of the few times that Saskatchewan started on their own side of center in this game, and the reason for that was John Ryan's missed kick into the end zone back a few plays ago.
And even this is decent field position. 2nd and 9, and Watson can't make the catch.
Gonna be a late hit on the quarterback, Charles Wright. Watson's gonna get a do-over.
Major foul, roughing the passer. BC, number 96. 15-yard penalty, automatic 1st down.
Newcomer out of Vanderbilt, and the Lions can't afford those.
Saw it coming. He got there, but he had plenty of time to redirect and not put his shoulder right under the chin of Cody Fajardo. I threw a flag on that one.
So that advances the ball into BC territory. First down at the 50. Fajardo pulled it, got it to Kyron Moore. And it's down at the 42 and a gain of 8.
Lots of pressure on D coordinator Rich Stubler now, because You're down by 17 heading into the third. There's no way that you can give up another major. Had him off the field, but for the penalty from Charles Wright.
Odell's still sitting on 99 career sacks. Second and short. Gonna throw the hinge, and that is stopped by the safety. Nice play by Brandon Dozier.
Well, this is how it works. Aaron Grimes comes on the secondary blitz. That's the start of it. So that means Dozier, the safety's got to come down and cover. So they're just selling out here. You're going to see from the right of your screen, Aaron Grimes coming in. He tries to jump and get it knocked out of the air, but Dozier's got to come and replace him. So he comes and replaces him in coverage, and he just sprints right by the block of Shaq Evans.
Well, because BC's already returned a missed field goal for a touchdown, they're not going to try a 52-yarder. John Ryan's going to try and hit the corner this time. And this is going to be fielded
there you go.
At the 6. Ryan Langford stepping out of bounds deep in BC territory, but Saskatchewan denied more points on that solid defensive play by the safety, Brandon Dozier.
I feel like burning up the afternoon.
Country Now, Canada.
The biggest day of my life just got bigger. You can buy 50/50 tickets for BC Lions home games now anywhere in BC. You can get them here at bclions5050.com. Just a second! Can you say honeymoon?
And family day here, and the young fans hoping that the Lions can rally here in the second half. Long field for Mike Riley, but had time, and that one broken up. Luchez Purifoy got there just in time, or Lamar Durant is running to the end zone.
Well, and it may take Saskatchewan, if he makes that play, out of their delayed blitz. There's Solomon Elimimian again. Look at him trying to find a spot. They load it up, and finally Riley gets the protection he needs and just doesn't put enough air on the ball to allow Lamar Durant to run underneath that. Great recovery from Luchez Purifoy. Get his hands on it.
He does the push-ups, thought he should have had the interception, but that's a clutch knockdown to prevent what could have been a touchdown. 2nd and 10 from the end zone. There's a connection, and Burnham steps out at the first down stick. And let's see how close that is. Is it going to be? It is a first down, so they don't have to worry about 3rd and inches.
You know, our quarterback's sitting in the studio right now. Those are guys that when I ever talk to them about blitzes, when we're sitting in a restaurant and we get all the salt shakers and pepper shakers and we're going game planning at the table, I'll say, well, I'm going to send my delayed blitzes here, and Dunnigan will just look at me and go, bring it, just bring it, because we're going to hit that deep one down the middle. They just missed it to Durant.
Just the second possession for BC in the game that didn't result in a 2-and-out. John White, the carry here. And it's going to be 2nd and long.
So if Solomon here, who's right now is going to go delayed blitz, the soft spot should be right where he leaves, right in the middle. So you need a receiver to get to that spot immediately, and then Riley has a chance to get rid of it. There goes Solomon now. He's covering man-to-man outside, right to the hole.
There it is.
There you go.
And that pass dropped. Durant can't hang on. Purifoy there defensively again. Did he get a hand on it?
Now this is where this is where the receiver's responsibility is. You got to get your man off you here. You can't allow your DB to be able to sit on your heel, on your backside like this, and then be able to cut underneath. A couple of great plays by Purifoy. I don't want to take anything away from his plays, but Durant's got to get closer to that pick so Purifoy can't get around it in time. And that's where now it's on the responsibility of the receiver to come up with the play.
So Bartel to punt.
Boundary, boundary, boundary!
And fielded by Thigpen. Again, they fake the reverse. You know how fast Thigpen is, and he turns the corner and tight ropes it down. They're going to, oh, where are they going to rule him out? At the 44, another start for Cody Fajardo on the BC Lions side of half, enjoying a 17-point lead here. midway through the third quarter.
Challenge for quarterback coach Steve Walsh for the Saskatchewan Roughriders with young Cody Fajardo is to find that level of consistency. Now the running game has started to step up in this football game, in this journey. Fajardo's numbers aren't jumping off the page, but protecting the football well so far, 11 of 14, so great completion percentage, and Steve Walsh got quite the resume.
No mistakes, 40 yards rushing for Fajardo, and short hops that. 77 yards passing for Fajardo in the game, 139 yards rushing for the Roughriders.
Yeah, sometimes the journey takes you in a different direction, but Walsh has got that great resume before he got to the CFL. He's been here 2 years now, a couple of years. He was the football director at the IMG Academy in Florida, which is a very famous football academy. Of course, University of Miami NCAA champion back in the late 80s. At the quarterback position, so he understands what they go through.
Would have been fun seeing him up here as a player back in the day.
Absolutely.
Corey Watson over the middle, and he gets swarmed and taken down short of a first down.
11 years in the National Football League, of course, first-round pick with the Dallas Cowboys. So, you know, Steve Walsh has been there, and he understands sometimes the game is about managing it and protecting the ball, protecting your lead. You don't want to get conservative necessarily, but if the run game's working better, stick with the run game.
Flag tossed.
Major foul. Unnecessary roughness. BC number 9 after the play. Up 15. Automatic first down.
Well, there's back-to-back series for Saskatchewan on offense when BC's taken a major penalty.
When they were coming off the field. Retaliation. Again, good football teams don't get those type of penalties.
Top defensive player for the Lions last year is going to cool down on the sidelines. First down. Powell running straight ahead down to the 15, and for the first time today, a team has reached the red zone.
I just want to emphasize one thing with that Davon Coleman. I don't want to pick on Coleman because this happens to everybody. You can fall into that and get frustrated and retaliate, but for young kids that are watching, that are playing the game, playing hockey, whatever it is, retaliating in that little push is not tough. Okay, that's not tough. Tough is to have the discipline to not do it.
As you saw, Powell over 100 and straight ahead again for another Saskatchewan first down.
That's tough. That's tough. Driving a run play right up the middle and just grinding it. Big boys just pushing, grinding. Now Davon Coleman's over on the sideline because of his penalty, so he's out of the middle of the defense.
He's the guy that's supposed to be plugging the hole.
Exactly.
Saskatchewan 10 for 15 in the red zone this year. Tied for third best percentage of touchdowns to visits inside the 20. And Powell straight ahead, and he walks in, touchdown, Saskatchewan. And it is becoming a huge day for William Powell. Second touchdown run, and again, this happens after
they were off the field.
Yep, off the field, and Davon Coleman takes the flag.
And then the trickle-down effect, because Davon Coleman gets the penalty on a silly little push retaliation, and the Riders run the ball 3 straight times right where he lines up. Normally, is now on the bench standing beside Devon Claybrook.
But they one man short here. John Ryan, the holder, signaling to the bench that they've got an issue, and they're going to have to take a time count. Charleston Hughes comes on late.
Uh-oh, that's a fine day.
Time count violation, Saskatchewan. Number 9, 5-yard penalty,
that's where you
reattempt the convert.
In practice the next week on the walkthrough after the game, everyone says, hey, Charleston, fine day. It is a fine day today because you're buying the chicken.
From player of the week one week to
buying the chicken the next. Again, we've all been there.
And Ferraro does squeak it through. Roughriders open it up here, 34-10.
There's a drink for that. There's a drink for that. There's a drink for that.
I'll go. Davon Coleman on the sideline beside his coach after the penalty, and Dan Clark goes to work on back-to-back plays right down Main Street. 100th game again for Dan Clark. Watch him get out here on the double team and then say to William Powell, this is the play before the touchdown, so back-to-back plays straight down the middle. He gets out there, gets on the double team, run right behind me, buddy. That's no problem. We'll just move the pile along here. Now he goes to the touchdown, and this time he's going to go the opposite direction and chip off the double team from the center spot, chip on the D-line, then get to the next level on Malik Harris, drive him back, and away you go, William Powell.
Powell might be buying the chicken for the offensive linemen. Oh, they probably don't eat chicken, the big boys. But Powell at 14 for 117 yards.
They'll eat whatever you put in front of them, yeah.
I should have known better than that. There's a fake reverse, and look out! Ryan Langford trying to turn the corner and does. Is he going to do it again? Inside and gone! A missed field goal return touchdown, and Ryan Langford has a kick return touchdown. Well, Langford's trying to keep them in it.
This time, I believe Mike Edom was the safety contain man on the kick cover team, and he fell down. He fell down, and by the time he got back up and regrouped, Langford had got outside, and he was in full speed mode. Little fake reverse, and number 15 now is trying to regain his angle. You see Mike Edom, he had fallen down, and he was the guy that was supposed to turn 17 in. Wow.
89 yards. The rare 2 kickoff return touchdowns in the same game. We're not giving away $1 million. Maybe we should have. Well, at least you and I aren't giving it away.
Yeah. You'd have to have it to give it away, but
and there were no flags.
No flags on either of them. Lions will try and go for 2 here.
We're hanging out.
Lions have 4 offensive touchdowns at home this year. 3 have come on kick returns. Pressure from Judge, back in the end zone, 2 points, Brian Burnham. And it's a 2-score lead again. Well, 2 touchdowns and 2 2-point converts away.
But 2 possessions, and that's how you chip away. You don't start doing the math on how many points. It's possessions. They're now the Lions 2 possessions. Turns up the heat a little bit on Cody Fajardo. He kind of again has to come in and try and at least answer with a field goal or a couple of first downs, take away a little of the Ryan Langford return momentum. That's how fast this happens down at feet level. Picking him up and putting him down, isn't he?
Craig Dickinson mentioned to me yesterday, one of his pet peeves is poor pursuit angles, and I'm sure when he watches the film of that, he's going to be a little concerned.
Well, I agree.
I'd go onside right now.
I agree, Chris, and Edom. Edom, I'm sure, was the guy who was supposed to be wider and the contain guy. He kind of slips, but the speed of Ryan Langford, by the time he gets up, he is gone.
What a day for Langford, and it didn't start in a promising fashion, but a couple of long-distance returns. Purifoy And he gets bulldogged down there. TJ Lee fired up. Let's go down the sidelines. Here's Farhan.
Guys, earlier this season when the Lions lost that heartbreaker in Calgary, Red Blacks head coach Rick Campbell, a friend of Devon Claybrooks, sent him a text and said, keep your head up, keep your team together. Well, fast forward to Thursday when the Red Blacks lost to Calgary with that controversial coaching decision. Claybrooks basically copy and pasted the same text and sent it back to Campbell, who might in turn send it back if the Lions lose here. Through all of these losses, though, it's been very important to Claybrooks to stay measured and stay in control. A number of his players told me they expected him to get hot and at times looked like he'd lost control, and that was the one thing he didn't want to do. He wanted to make sure that he was always in control so the players would always stay in control, and that's been the one thing about his coaching philosophy he didn't think would be tested this early in the season. It has, and he stuck true to it.
Now he's got to figure out how to fix it, because he may be staying in control, but Davon Coleman getting that penalty for a retaliation push that really was nothing, and a terrible penalty, terrible decision turned into a touchdown against. So what does Devon Claybrooks do now to say, hey, if you're not going to follow my example of staying control on the sideline, then I'm going to have to start with a fine system, and it's going to be playing time, and if you go past losing playing time, then you're out, you're gone.
Coleman back in, and a first down run. I was going to say one of his pet peeves is poor tackling, and you saw it on the first carry by Thigpen when it looked like he might be stopped in the backfield, but back-to-back carries for Thigpen, and it produces a first down.
Well, and give credit to the talent that are making the tacklers miss, for sure, and William Powell and guys like Marcus Thigpen. However, one thing that can help you when you're struggling in tackling is pursuit. There's 12 guys out there. All 12 got to get to the ball.
First and 10. Fajardo, a little shovel inside for Corey Watson. And he's up to midfield. Final minute, third quarter. By the way, Ryan Langford, 258 return yards so far in this game.
And in 100, Dan Clark getting her done up front. And watch this. He takes on his man. Good drive block. Drive him, drive him, drive him, drive him. Get back in there and just whatever the opposite color jersey is in front of you, just keep plowing through it all.
Doesn't look like orange is his favorite color. Fajardo hit but got it away. And another catch for Watson down to the 51, so about 3 on that play. One more play barring penalty in the third quarter. We're through 3 quarters, or almost through 3 quarters, and neither quarterback is into triple figures. Fajardo 98 yards passing, Mike Riley 66.
Langford has more return yards than the offense.
Yep. Second down, they send pressure. Arsenault's got a catch. First of the game. He keeps his streak going. Had to wait till the fourth quarter last week. First catch comes on the final play of the third quarter. Forward progress at the 45. Going to be just short of a first down. Through 3 quarters here at BC Place, and the Lions offense is that bottom line. How about Ryan Langford, 258 kick return yards. Saskatchewan has 231 kick return yards and an edge in the other stats.
It's turned into a running game for Saskatchewan, but I don't remember the last time that a Mike Riley run offense had 66 yards passing. And, you know, you wonder with all the speed that we've seen from Ryan Langford on those returns, how much could he help this BC Lion offense if they put him in? Deron Carter's been targeted 3 times tonight, has 1 catch for 2 yards. He's been invisible. I mean, Ryan Langford has shown you that he can fly, at least open up space for a guy like Brian Burnham if they put him together.
And Langford also plays receiver. Been here a couple weeks now. And a fake here, and Ryan Bennett's got it, and he'll run for a first down. Well, they fake on 3rd and short, and they make that with plenty to spare. So it's been a special teams afternoon in more ways than one.
Right in that sweet spot where if you don't win the play and you're not successful on the fake, you're not terrible. You know, you're still in their side of center, and it's not a big loss. It's that perfect time. That's where the return team has to be alerting. This is the fake area. This is where they might try it. Well executed.
First down at the line, 35. And that slant. Aaron Grimes with the tackle on Shaq Evans. There is a flag in the Rough Rider backfield, coming back on a hold.
Holding Saskatchewan, number 66. That's a 10-yard penalty. It'll remain first down.
Vladeck draws the flag this time.
Boy, Shaq Evans can run that slant route. I mean, running the slant route takes courage, because you are going to get whacked in there. You know that there's a linebacker hanging out right in where you're going to end up meeting the ball.
Got some size out there, physical receiver who can fly. And here's Thigpen over the middle, and the crosser.
Good block by Shaq. Shaq Evans got Thigpen a couple more. Little things matter.
Down around the 32-yard line. Our live parabolic game just took a hit. And it will be 2nd and 7. That's up close and personal sound. 2nd and 7. Blitz picked up, pass is caught. Naaman Roosevelt in front of TJ Lee for another Rough Rider first down. Just his 3rd catch of the game, but another 2nd down conversion catch.
Becomes dangerous for a quarterback to throw it over the middle when he knows there's going to be linebackers dropping underneath that throw. If he sees the linebackers coming up and they're coming on the blitz, that hole in the middle should be open. Veteran receiver comes up with it.
10th play of the drive, back in the red zone. 1 for 1. Play action fake, batted down. Aaron Grimes on the halfback blitz.
With more experience, Cody Fajardo is going to pump fake that. Yeah, I've seen it a couple of times now, and this young guy, he just went over and said, yeah, okay, you got me on the guess there, because here comes Grimes off the edge, and if Cody Fajardo pump fakes him here, pump fake, he gets up like that and then gets outside and around him, it's a touchdown, because you can't cover that long when you're sending a halfback blitz.
So 2nd and 10. Thigpen again in the backfield on the waggle, and they go the other way to Watson, and he gets stopped in a hurry. Defensive play that time made by Chris Edwards.
Important 3, though, for Craig Dickinson's group.
Gives them a little breathing room, if successful, to get it beyond 2 scores.
And then you go to the 3rd possession. Now the Lions need the ball 3 times to try and come back with the clock running.
So lining up a 19-yard attempt.
So that's a good, as long as they make this, that's a good bounce back drive after taking some momentum right away, getting it back to 3 possessions. Even a single does that.
Out of the hold of John Ryan. Up and good. 37-18. So a lengthy drive results in 3. Not a lot of damage done except to a parabolic mic. Looks like Joel able to absorb the hit on the sideline.
the app today.
Got 7 good reasons I should give her a call. It all worked out when you walked out, girl, I'll tell you the truth.
Count the Ways, the new single from Jade Eagleson. Listen on Apple Music.
Welcome back, Family Day here at BC Place Stadium. Now a 19-point lead for the visitors. Mike Riley to work, pressure coming, but has time to air this one out, a jump, and it is dropped. Burnham able to fight for position, and then couldn't secure it.
Like he may have hurt his foot trying to get in that position. He's right in that number 2 spot to the field. He's going to go out on like a wheel route. Good position by Purefoy. I'm not so sure that might have been challenged even if he caught it. And see if Burnham would get the offensive PI with the little push on the back of Purefoy.
Would have been the Lions' biggest play from scrimmage on the day. 2nd and 10. Pump from Riley, and he's in trouble. McHenry had him going down the pass. Let's see if they're going to rule that that was a sack or an incomplete pass. But it is another 2 and out.
Every game's a different journey. Charleston Hughes is outside. There's McHenry in the interior spot. Hughes, I think, provides the first problems for Riley. He gets that spin move going. Henry comes around and gets to him.
And it is a sack. McHenry
but Hughes
gets credit.
Hughes has been quiet.
Well, he had enough last week for 3 games?
Yeah, you're right.
McHenry's first sack of the season, 4th of the day, 25th of the year surrendered by BC. Kyron Moore from his 37. He'll try and get outside, and he got upended by Frederick Chagnon. Good downfield tackle on that play. But the Riders are in control, just over 10 minutes to go. McHenry, the latest to register a Rough Rider sack.
Rapid relief.
Tonight in Coors Light answering the call, we wondered about both Lion lines defensively. Davon Coleman, Odell Willis, 1 tackle each, no sacks. BC offensive line, 4 sacks allowed. Big part of the story. Back to Chris and Glenn.
Yes, it has been a continuing theme for the Lions this season and for the Rough Riders against the Lions in this back-to-back series. William Powell back in the game, got a little bit of a breather on the last series with Thigpen in the backfield, but Powell continues to pad his stats in the game. Looks like he's got 8 more, which would get him to 125 on the day. And with the lead in the 4th quarter, the running backs are living for this.
Oh yeah, this is money time for tailbacks.
Second and 2. Powell's got the first down. Powell's got Saskatchewan back in BC territory.
And on 2nd down goes to William Powell again.
I thought Dakota Shepley had his best game as a Rider last week in the first game in this series. Shepley's there, Dan Clark's there. Watch them drive block on this run. It's away from the play, but watch them step over. They slide to the left. Now they're driving together.
Oh, you like Shark Week? You got a good idea. We should have Hog Week.
Hoggy Week. I love it.
William Powell might not argue. Oh, he got taken out low there on a nice tackle.
All we do is that week we feature the Hogs. We talk about the O-line. We get them in our sit-down TSN interviews. It's Shark Week one week. It's Hoggy Week the next week. And you'll be surprised how well-spoken that group is. Some smart guys up front.
Don't get enough love, do they? They do from their quarterbacks and their running backs. By the way, the last tackle made by the former Saskatchewan Roughrider, Preston Butler. Second and long, they fake to Butler on a roll, little sidearm toss. Fajardo dropping down there to make the connection with Kyron Moore.
Well, a few things here. One, rolling opposite way. Very tough to make an accurate throw going to your left when you're a right-handed quarterback. Secondly, this takes tremendous confidence now. He just wants to keep this 3 possessions. You got to keep the ball possession. Don't let the BC Lions get any life. So a first down's important, and he puts it in a small window.
4 catches, 38 for Moore. First and 10. Fake to Powell, and it's Linnaeus with his first tackle, catch. Gary Peters with the tackle. Braden Linnaeus from North Vancouver has a catch. Back in his old stomping grounds at a Carson Graham high school product, just like the man to the right of me.
A couple of players went through that high school, Carson Graham High School in North Vancouver. The great Earl Henderson, who coached not just one, but I think 3 generations of kids going through there, was the coach that I learned a ton about this game from.
Linnaeus 3 years in Washington, finished in New Mexico, and Cody Watson left uncovered, and he'll lunge inside the 20. TJ Lee trying to strip the ball away from him, and comes up with the ball, but the whistle had sounded.
Boy, this is just textbook work by the Saskatchewan Roughriders offensively. Just grind this game down and have Cody Fajardo start the drive with a couple of William Powell runs, and then after he gets that established, pull the ball a few times. He's got open receivers, made a confident throw to Kyron Moore in the middle. Now he's got a wide open Watson who does the rest of the work for him.
Watson, the leading receiver on the day now, 6 catches for 53 yards. And they drop. Powell. More nifty running for William Powell down around the 10. That's a gain of at least 9. 142 yards for William Powell. The top rushing day of the year, 202 by William Stanback.
Watch the fake here with the ball from Cody Fajardo. This is something you expect from experienced quarterbacks. He sold the fact that he was going to throw hot by looking at the receiver, holding the ball up in the throwing position, and then he went and handed it off to Powell.
Hands it back to Powell on 2nd and a yard. Stumbled, but has the first down.
You expect that from guys in start 50, not necessarily in start number 5.
Well, it is his 50th game. But as you say correctly, just his 5th start.
Well, in plays like that, they get anxious and they just want to hand it off on the draw. But the defenders are always looking for those keys. So that split-second look with the ball in the throwing position to a receiver, that could freeze a D lineman, freeze a linebacker for a second, and give Powell an extra edge.
3rd consecutive red zone trip, and as you can see, inches short on 3rd down. The heavy team gets called in, and Fajardo comes out, used to do the short yardage, and gives way to Brian Bennett, who had that carry on the fake punt a little earlier in the 4th quarter.
And a special teams guy, Brian Bennett. My guess is just take it right behind 67 and just might be able to get to the end zone if you just go behind Big Dan Clark.
I think Clark just told him that's all he has to do.
Right behind me, no problem.
I've done this for 100 games. And off the right side that time, and an easy first down, and they just chew up yards. And at this point in the game, probably more importantly, they're chewing up time on the clock.
Yeah, there he is. This is just getting 3:10. Just bend those knees, fire off the football, get low as you can, drop the pad level, just recoil into the D line. You do your job up front like that, like Dan Clark just did, and you should get that first down every time.
Roughriders in position to put this one away. Just over 4 minutes to go. Pulls it from Powell, tries to get outside and does! Wow. And will get angled out at the 1.5 yard line.
How about that move on Gary Peters? How about this move? Gary Peters is over there right now trying to find his shoes and his jock and his elbow pads. He's like, whoa, oh. Froze him.
Cody's scored in 5 consecutive games. Last Saskatchewan Roughrider quarterback to do that was Kerry Joseph. But a chance here to score in a 6th consecutive game.
Interesting, they're in shotgun in this. I'd be under center and just hand it to Powell.
He does hand it to Powell. The 11th play of the drive is into the end zone, touchdown.
That's what you want with the lead. That's the drive you want. Season series on the line here. Saskatchewan's bringing it home. The upside of going shotgun down on the goal line like that is that you allow your offensive line to get engaged in their blocks so that the tailback can actually use his vision and read it. The downside is if the D line gets through your offensive line and gets that penetration into the backfield, now Powell can get caught and you lose yards, but not the way they're playing tonight.
Finishing touches on a player of the week kind of game for William Powell, his 3rd touchdown, 20 carries, 143 yards.
11-play drive that took 6 minutes and 31 seconds. That's textbook.
Now for 2, and it's Powell again, and he cracks through for 2 more. 20-point day for William Powell. 45-18, yep, it's the hat trick for William Powell here at BC Place. Well, this game will be remembered for 3 kick return touchdowns in the same game. Lucas Purifoy did it. Just the 2nd time teams had 2 kick returns in the same game, kickoff returns, and here's Ryan Langford, the 19th player in history with 2 kick return touchdowns in the same game. 2nd Lion, Chris Rainey did it. One guy did it 3 times, guy by the name of Gizmo Williams. Langford stopped up around the 35 this time. And it won't be Mike Riley to finish this time. It will be Danny O'Brien.
Put a little bow on this show tonight because we started out by explaining what happened in the first game when Riley was left out there with 3 minutes to go and 3 possessions and was still taking a pounding. Actually looked like he had hurt his ankle. Devon Claybrook said yesterday that in retrospect, he probably should have taken his quarterback out. Mike Riley mentioned he didn't want to come out. He doesn't ever want to come out. But Devon Claybrook's doing the right thing right now, protecting him against his own desires.
Mar Durant can't make the catch. As we hit the 3-minute warning, Durant without a reception on the day.
Everything you need to go.
Last game of July, we head into August and week 8. It starts with a doubleheader on Thursday night. The Bombers now with a loss in that column against the Argonauts, who don't have a win yet. Tiger Cats will be in Saskatchewan to meet the Roughriders without Jeremiah Masoli. Friday Night Football, Ottawa, Montreal. Saturday, the live bike game. And the Battle of Alberta resumes.
Alouettes on a roll right now, and heartbreaking news from Hamilton.
Danny O'Brien's throw was almost picked off. Stretching out there to make the defensive play was Alex Chevrier.
Now, this is the right decision by Devon Claybrooks. The Lions will have a bye, so Riley can heal up. It'll give the organization a chance to make some changes that they will certainly have to make. And
just a guess, but those have to be the lowest numbers for a Mike Riley virtually complete game start in his career. And look at the net yardage. It's been a long time since we've done a game where one team's been held under 50 yards. In fact, I don't remember the last one.
I don't think, I'm not sure there has been one, but again, back to the Saskatchewan Roughriders' next opponent is Hamilton Tiger Cats without Jeremiah Masoli. And heartbreaking to see a non-contact injury, ACL. He's gone for the season. We wish the best for him in his recovery. And Dane Evans now gets a chance to step in like Cody Fajardo did when Zach Collaros went down. Like Nick Arbuckle is getting his opportunity with Bo Levi Mitchell working through his injury in Calgary. So it's part of it. We get it. We wish the best for Masoli for sure.
Nobody said football was fair.
Nope.
Boy, it's
absolutely
tough to see. Can't have any more admiration for a guy in the league than Jeremiah Masoli, and we do hope the recovery is speedy and successful.
Well, he'll bounce back from that, you know, and made this point before, and it is tough, but it is part of it, and you don't see the next guy until something like this happens. So Dane Evans has an opportunity. Cody Fajardo is trying to take full advantage of his chance with Zach Collaros when he went down early, and he's done that. I think Nick Arbuckle, you could say the same for him.
And here's Isaac Harker in the mop up. Handed it off to Thigpen straight ahead, and nothing there.
Jason Moss got hurt back in his playing days, and guess who replaced him? Ricky Ray.
Turned out okay, didn't it?
Put together a pretty good career. So, you know, I know Masoli is going to do whatever he can to help Dane Evans take full advantage of his opportunity. But for everyone that sort of predicts how the season's going to end and who's going to make the playoffs in the first third, boy, things can change in a hurry. And Saskatchewan will now play against Hamilton next week without Jeremiah Masoli.
Ryan Langford back. Now up to 277 return yards. Line drive by Ryan. And here's Langford. Little stutter step there. And almost got loose again, but finally corralled. Now time for the Nissan Titan Players of the Game, brought to you by the Nissan Titan, the official vehicle of the Canadian Football League.
For Saskatchewan, it became a running game, and William Powell had a big one, 21 carries for 146, but he's not our only player of the game tonight, because in game number 100 in his career, Dan Clark led the way on a lot of those runs. Big number 67, Regina born and raised, played at the U of R. Man, he opened up some massive holes for 29. So Dan Clark and William Powell are our players of the game tonight.
Our stats guy John Proberg smiling because he just told me I had him in fantasy, but I'm not sure if he means Powell or Clark. I think he means the other guy, Dan, not you. William Powell. That's a nice way to celebrate game 100.
And interesting, and we were in a commercial, and Chris, I know you made a point to me that Charleston Hughes didn't have a big statistical game tonight like he did in the first one. But when you look at the stats, that Rider defense collectively all got involved.
I mean, the most tackles in the game, Elimimian with 4.
Procedure, BC, number 50. We'll go half the distance to the goal, remain first down.
So as Devon Claybrooks said, at the halftime mark, he said, you know, they're doing that delayed blitz, they're stinging us. So the linebackers were a little more involved in the second game plan in the second game against the same opponent. But that team defensively all contributed with a couple of tackles each.
Strangely, Hughes may be the only guy on that defense that doesn't have a stat in this game. Purifoy adds to his, and it's a triumphant return for Solomon Elimimian and Manny Arsenault to BC Place.
Manny kept the streak alive with one catch, and they're asking him to do a little blocking in the run game, things like that. But
thought Elimimian set the tone though early, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. And you can bet that Manny will contribute in a bigger way in the passing game as the season goes on. And again, I've said this before, but if you don't do it, follow Manny Arsenault on Twitter, because the guy is so positive. Well, that'll be a penalty.
Yeah,
and
Micah
here
Johnson
we go.
hauling down Pearson, and now Micah wanting to go with Hunter Stewart. And we've got a little extracurricular in the final minute. And I'm going to stand corrected here. I just checked Micah Johnson without a stat either. So Johnson and Hughes, and maybe that's why Micah's a little heated up here. Wasn't able to.
Well, the only numbers that matter really are these ones here.
But I mean, it's been a near flawless defensive performance by Saskatchewan, no matter who has the stats.
And keep in mind that two of the returns by Ryan Langford for BC counted for 12 of those points.
The offense with 3 points plus the 2-point convert.
Could be like 45-3.
Now 48 net yards. Craig Dickinson said his goal was to get them to 3-3 at the third mark of the season, and they're going to do that.
After the play, we have multiple major fouls. Unnecessary roughness, Saskatchewan. Number 99 and number 2. Unnecessary roughness, BC, number 50. This will give them a first down, BC.
AC Leonard and Micah Johnson involved.
Well, decision time. First third of the season is a chance for the coaches on a struggling team. You're Devon Claybrooks. It's a chance to make changes in time to still take a run. If you're a successful team and you're building, then you're just adding little pieces. But Ed Hervey and Devon Claybrooks have the bye week now to make some changes and maybe take a run. Remember, the last time they were 1-6 was 2011. They won the championship that year.
Players get a bye, but you could bet Ed Hervey's not going to take a couple of weeks without being active.
Well, Farhan told us, I mean, he walked through the locker room after the last loss and basically called out the guys saying, not good enough, you're not good enough, and, you know, went through the list. So there's going to be some changes in BC. You can bet on it. There's going to be some changes in Toronto. You can bet on it. The first third, because it is such a long haul and things can change. Just ask the Hamilton Tiger Cats quickly. I'm not saying that they're just going to lose automatically without Jeremiah, but things change in a hurry. In the first third, there's still time to make those changes, build some chemistry in the second third, and then try and take a run and see if you can't sneak in the playoffs if you're BC. But Saskatchewan earned it. They have the season series. And they still have a young quarterback that just keeps getting better every game.
Could be a good one next Thursday when the Hamilton Ticats visit Mosaic. And the Roughrider fans here in the stands are on their feet.
There's watermelons. Got the guys down on the bench playing along.
Yeah.
Yep, Saskatchewan with the road game, just in case.
Timer, put 2 seconds back on the clock, please.
We need 2 more seconds from Kim Murphy. And the final offensive numbers, 395 net yards Saskatchewan, 64 for the Lions, plus that carry. That's the game. Roughriders get to 3-3, and they cap the back-to-back. First time they've ever swept a back-to-back series with the BC Lions since 1974. There was some special teams explosions tonight, but for the most part, Roughrider domination. 45-18, the final score. So long for BC Place. Here comes SportsCenter.